All right, welcome to the deep dive. We're going to be diving deep into some research today.
Diving deep.
Yeah, diving deep.
Yeah.
And, this is where we take some research that you're interested in and kind of take out the important parts, the
Yeah.
crucial insights.
Yeah.
And this deep dive is specifically for you.
You got it.
It's
So
right.
today we're diving into something
Oh.
that I think is going to be really relevant, whether you're learning, whether you're guiding learners, or whether you're just curious about the world of education. And that is the connection between burnout and academic achievement.
Yeah, this is a really interesting one.
Yeah.
We've been reading a meta-analysis called Does Burnout Affect Academic Achievement? A meta-analysis of over 100,000 students.
Wow, that's a lot of students.
Yeah.
Huge study.
Yeah, by Daniel J. Madigan and Thomas Curran.
Okay.
It was published in the Education Psychology Review back in June 2021.
All right.
And yeah, over 100,000 students.
Wow.
That's a lot of data.
A lot of data. And what we really want to do today
Yeah.
is understand how this idea of burnout, which we kind of originally associated with human service professionals, nursing, social work.
Yeah.
But we're really going to see how it plays out in the context of being a student.
Right. Yeah.
And really crucially, connect this back to your experience.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're a student yourself,
Yeah.
whether you're a parent, whether you're involved in education.
Yeah, I think that's really important because,
Yeah.
if you're not aware of this, then how can you actually make any changes,
Absolutely.
So to get started, how do we even define, academic achievement?
Yeah, well, so the study highlights
Yeah.
that academic achievement is typically assessed through things like test performance, grades, and GPA.
Mm-hmm.
So, these are kind of the yardsticks that are used to measure how well students are doing in meeting those educational goals.
Right.
These are the things that have tangible consequences for students' futures in terms of university admissions and things like that.
Yeah.
But
It's not perfect, though, is it?
it's not a flawless
Yeah.
system. No, the researchers do point out that there are limitations.
Yeah, you could cram for an exam and then forget everything.
Yeah, and they highlight that a heavy reliance on exams, for example, may incentivize things like rote memorization rather than deep understanding
Yeah, that's true.
of the subject matter.
Yeah.
But they also emphasize that despite these limitations,
Mm-hmm.
GPA, grades, exam results, they do tend to be consistent indicators of performance across different subjects and across time.
Right?
So for practical purposes and for research like this with this huge sample size,
Yeah.
they actually provide quite valuable data.
Right. So it is useful for research, and that's good for us.
Absolutely.
So it's interesting to think about, in the last decade or so, there's been a lot of emphasis scientifically on, what actually predicts academic achievement.
Mhm.
What contributes to students being successful.
Yeah, it's not all about, talent, is
No,
it?
no, no, definitely not. Yeah.
The research highlights that there are a lot of factors,
Yeah.
and these are really complex and varied. So we're talking about, the student themselves, their own characteristics,
Mm-hmm.
like their level of motivation, the effort they put in.
Yeah.
Then we can think about the social influences,
Right.
like the quality of the teachers that they have.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can also think about the environment that
Right.
they're learning in, the school environment.
Yeah. And the research even shows that, things like
Yeah.
motivation, effort, social support,
Mm-hmm.
these all have positive associations.
Yeah.
But then things like procrastination,
Mhm.
anxiety, and stress generally, those have negative associations
Yeah.
with academic achievement.
And what's really interesting is that there's this more recent focus
Yeah.
on well-being.
Right.
So the students' overall well-being,
Mm-hmm.
both physical and mental.
Okay.
And they even highlight this kind of unexpected finding
Yeah.
where depressive symptoms in some meta-analyses haven't actually shown very strong associations with academic achievement.
Really?
Yeah. And I think
It's kind of counterintuitive.
yeah, and I think what's interesting to consider here
Yeah.
is that those broader feelings of low mood or lack of interest,
Right.
they might be too general to kind of directly impact academic performance.
Right.
So it's not actually tied to the demands of being a student.
Okay.
And that's where I think this idea of burnout becomes really relevant.
Yeah.
Because much more directly connected to the pressures
Mm-hmm.
and challenges of academic life.
Right. Okay. So let's talk about burnout then.
Let's do it.
Where did this idea even come from?
Well, the study mentions that it was originally applied in human service professions.
Mm-hmm.
So think about, professionals who are in emotionally demanding roles,
Right.
where they're constantly interacting with and supporting others, often in stressful situations.
Yeah.
And in these fields,
Yeah.
burnout emerged as this kind of syndrome, characterized by feeling totally exhausted,
Right.
developing a detached, cynical perspective on your work,
Okay.
and also experiencing this kind of diminished sense of personal accomplishment
Mm-hmm.
or effectiveness.
So it kind of like saps your motivation.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So they actually break down the symptoms
Me too.
into three main areas.
Yeah.
So first, there's exhaustion, that feeling of being drained,
Yeah, completely draining.
lacking energy.
Yeah.
Second, cynicism,
Mm-mm.
which is developing these negative
Mhm.
and detached attitudes
Right.
towards your work.
And third, reduced efficacy.
Yeah.
That feeling of being incompetent
Hmm.
and not being able to actually perform well. Right. And we know that
Yeah.
in workplace settings, burnout has been shown to have significant negative consequences.
Mm-hmm.
So things like social isolation, increased absenteeism, and a decline in job performance.
Yeah, so it's a pretty big deal.
Yeah. And this is also a serious concern for teachers.
Right.
It can impact their capacity to work effectively
Yeah.
and sadly, potentially affect their students' learning.
Right, that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
But the study makes us a really crucial point
Mhm.
that burnout isn't limited to these traditional workplaces,
Absolutely.
like a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
It actually applies to students as well.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Their academic pursuits,
Yeah.
going to class, studying, completing all these assignments.
Mhm.
This is their primary work. They
Yeah.
have performance objectives,
Right.
like passing exams,
Yeah.
earning a degree.
Mhm.
So academic burnout
Yeah.
mirrors that same syndrome that we talked about,
Right.
but within the context of the student's life.
Right, so instead of work, it's school, basically.
got it.
Yeah, so it's exhaustion stemming from studying a cynical attitude towards their studies.
Mm-hmm. Maybe even like questioning the value of it all.
Right, right.
Yeah,
Yeah, and a feeling of just being less competent and effective in your schoolwork.
absolutely. And,
Yeah.
just like in professional settings, it's linked to some really concerning outcomes for students as well.
Okay, like what kind of outcomes?
So things like lower self-esteem,
Mm,
feeling more controlled rather than intrinsically motivated,
right.
and sadly, even thoughts of suicide.
Wow, so it's like
Yeah, it's
a
serious.
serious negative consequences.
Yeah.
So, okay, burnout's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
We're starting to see that.
Yeah.
But the central question here is,
Yeah.
how does this relate to their actual academic achievement?
Exactly. And the study points out that,
Yeah.
surprisingly, there hasn't actually been that much established theory specifically explaining that link
Really?
in educational context. So that's what makes this meta-analysis so valuable.
Mm-hmm.
They propose some really logical mechanisms.
Okay.
So the first revolves around this idea of reduced effort and interest.
Okay.
So if a student is exhausted, they simply might not have the energy to dedicate to their studies.
Right.
And if they're cynical, they're probably going to be less inclined to actually put in the effort. Right.
Like, why bother?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then that feeling of reduced efficacy
Right.
further makes this worse.
Yeah.
Because if they don't feel competent,
Yeah.
if they lack confidence in their ability to succeed,
Yeah.
they might not even bother trying.
Right. So it's just like this downward spiral.
Yeah, and then the
Yeah.
second proposed mechanism is absenteeism.
Okay. So that's just like skipping school?
Well, it can be skipping school,
Yeah.
but it's more than that.
Okay.
So burnout can manifest as both psychological and physical withdrawal.
Mm.
So the frustration that comes with the exhaustion,
Yeah.
the kind of emotional distancing,
Right.
that comes with cynicism.
Hmm.
And then those feelings of inadequacy from reduced efficacy
Yeah.
can all contribute to students just wanting to disengage
Right.
from their studies.
So like, yeah, they might skip class,
Mm.
but also maybe they just don't participate.
Yeah.
Or they're just not paying attention.
Yeah, just mentally checking out.
Right. Right.
And obviously that's going to have a direct impact on
Yeah.
their grades and academic performance.
So it seems pretty logical,
Yeah.
but the real question is, what does the data show?
Well, this meta-analysis
Yeah.
looked at 29 independent studies
Okay.
with over 100,000 students.
Yeah. That's a lot.
That's a huge sample size, which means we can be
Mm-hmm.
more confident in these results.
Right.
And the key finding is that total burnout shows a significant negative correlation with academic achievement.
Okay, so unpack that a bit.
Okay, sure.
What does that actually mean?
They calculated what's called a correlation coefficient of
Right.
negative 0.24.
Okay, so how does that translate for someone listening?
Basically what that means is
Yeah.
that as a student's level of burnout goes up,
Yeah.
their academic achievement tends to go down.
Right. So there is that connection.
Yeah, it's not a perfect predictor
Right.
for any individual student,
Mm-hmm.
but it suggests a clear trend
Okay.
when we look at the group as a whole.
Right. Yeah.
And that negative association was consistent across all of the symptoms as well.
Okay, so like for exhaustion, cynicism, and reduced efficacy.
You got it. So exhaustion showed the weakest correlation at -0.15.
Okay.
Cynicism was -0.24.
Right.
And reduced efficacy was the strongest at -0.39.
So feeling like you can't perform well in school
Mm-hmm.
is kind of the worst.
Yeah, seems to have the biggest impact.
Right, right.
And the study also found that there wasn't a lot of variation between the different studies.
Okay.
So it suggests that this is a pretty consistent relationship
Mm-hmm.
across different educational contexts.
Now, I think it's interesting that they also looked at whether certain things might change that relationship.
Yes, so they looked at what are called moderators.
Right.
So things that might strengthen or weaken the link.
Okay. What kind of things did they look at?
So they looked at things like, first of all, the instrument that was used to measure burnout.
Mm.
So whether studies used the school burnout inventory
Mm.
or the MATLAC burnout inventory student survey,
Okay.
which are two commonly used scales.
Right. So like the actual questionnaire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They also looked at the stage of education.
Okay.
So whether it was primary, secondary, or tertiary education.
Mm-hmm.
They looked at the type of academic achievement being measured,
Okay.
whether it was GPA, grades, or exams.
Right. Right.
They looked at whether the achievement was measured objectively,
Mm-hmm.
like from school records,
Oh, right.
or subjectively,
Okay.
like self-reported by the students.
And did they find anything with those?
Well, the most significant moderation effect they found
Hmm.
was that the instrument that was used to measure burnout
Yeah.
moderated the relationship between reduced efficacy and achievement.
Okay.
So studies that used the MATLAC burnout inventory tended to show a stronger negative correlation
Hmm.
than those using the school burnout inventory.
So even the way you measure burnout,
Yeah, can have an impact.
yeah, can affect it.
And they suggest that this might be because of differences in how the scales assess
Hmm.
reduced efficacy.
Okay.
Maybe the number of items, maybe the wording of the items.
Right.
But that was the only significant moderator.
Really.
Yeah.
So the other factors like stage of education, type of achievement,
Hmm.
objectivity of measurement
Yeah.
didn't really matter.
Gender as well.
Oh, wow.
Didn't actually significantly change the relationship.
So it's kind of universal.
Yes, suggests that the negative impact of burnout
Right.
is pretty consistent across all those groups.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So we know it's a negative impact,
Mm.
but how does it stack up against other things?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Like other factors that we know are related
Yeah.
to academic performance.
So the study actually provides some context here
Okay.
by comparing the magnitude of the effect sizes.
Mm. Mm.
So they found that burnout has a bigger negative impact on academic achievement than things like the amount of TV that students watch,
Okay.
instances of school suspension,
Mhm.
or even moving schools.
Wow. So
Yeah.
those are all things that you hear.
You hear
Wow.
people talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
And then when they compared the effect of burnout to other psychological factors,
Yeah.
they found that the size of the effect was similar to things like procrastination,
Mm.
boredom, and test anxiety.
Okay.
But what's really striking
Yeah.
is that reduced efficacy component of burnout
Mm-hmm. Mm.
showed one of the biggest effect sizes of any psychological predictor.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah, it's significant.
Yeah.
Really underscores the importance of this issue.
Mm-hmm.
And,
It's so important for educators,
Yeah.
parents.
you listening to be aware.
If you're a student, absolutely, you
Wow.
know, of these symptoms and their potential impact.
Right, so even if you're not a student, like
Mm.
maybe you're a parent or a teacher.
Yeah.
Like you need to be aware of this as well.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So with all research, there are limitations
Mm-hmm.
and they highlight a few.
They do.
So one of the key ones is that most of the studies included were cross-sectional.
Yeah.
So just like a snapshot in time.
Right. And this makes it hard to really definitively say
Yeah.
that burnout is causing lower achievement.
Right. Because it could be the other way around.
It could be, or it could be something else
No.
entirely.
Yeah. Some third variable.
Absolutely. Although the consistent negative relationship is,
Hmm.
it's pretty suggestive.
Yeah.
But more longitudinal studies are needed.
Right. So like tracking students over time
Yeah, that's going to be really helpful.
to really understand how changes in burnout impact academic trajectories over time.
Right. So we need to move beyond correlation
Yeah.
to causation.
Exactly.
And what other questions did they bring up?
Well, they also emphasized
Yeah.
the need to further investigate the underlying mechanisms,
Okay. So like
like
the how, the why.
how, the why. Yeah.
Okay.
While they proposed that reduced effort and absenteeism
Yeah.
are key pathways,
Mm-hmm.
future research could directly examine these links.
Okay.
So, for example, do students experiencing burnout actually dedicate less time to studying,
Right.
and does that directly result in lower grades?
Okay. Yeah.
What specific types of absenteeism, both physical and mental,
Mm.
are most strongly associated with burnout and those poor academic outcomes?
Okay. So really trying to tease apart the specifics
Right.
of how burnout undermines academic success.
Yeah.
And then what about other things that might influence this relationship?
Well, there's a whole host of potential moderators to explore here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so the authors suggest things like, personal characteristics like perfectionism,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
which might make a student more susceptible
Right.
to burnout.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Things like lifestyle factors like sleep quality,
Mm-hmm.
physical activity
Okay.
could also play a role.
Yeah.
Social factors, including parental expectations,
Mm.
availability of academic support,
Right.
even things like a student's approach to learning.
Mm.
Whether they focus on deep understanding or surface-level memorization
All right.
could all interact with burnout and academic performance.
So lots of future directions.
Yeah, lots more research to do.
Yeah.
Um,
And one thing I thought was really interesting
mhm.
was that they brought up primary education.
Yeah, and the lack of data that we have there
Right.
in terms of burnout and its impact on younger learners.
Right. Because all the studies that they looked at
Hmm.
were on secondary and tertiary education.
Yeah, so high school and university.
Right. But
Huh.
we know that. Yeah.
Even like younger students
Yeah.
can experience academic stress and pressure.
Absolutely. So a key question for future research is
Yeah.
are current measures of burnout
Right.
even appropriate for primary school students?
You can't give them a questionnaire that's designed for
Exactly.
like a university student.
Yeah, so do we need new age-appropriate measures?
Right, right.
And finally, they touched on this really interesting idea
Yeah.
of the role of teachers
Mm.
in student burnout.
Okay, so like the teacher's burnout.
Yeah, so there's this idea of burnout contagion,
Okay.
where if a teacher is experiencing high levels of burnout,
Yeah.
could that actually contribute to increased burnout in their students
Right, so it's spread.
and then ultimately affecting their academic achievement?
Wow.
So that needs further investigation. And
Yeah.
also,
Yeah.
is it a reciprocal relationship?
Oh, that's interesting.
Or burnt out students also contribute to teacher burnout? Right, so it goes both ways.
Yeah, so I think that's a really interesting avenue for future research.
Okay, so lots to investigate.
Yeah.
But what are the takeaways for now?
Okay, so I think the authors emphasize the need
Yeah.
to raise awareness
Mm.
about burnout and its potential consequences
Yeah.
among both educators and students.
Okay.
The recent inclusion of burnout in the ICD-11 by the WHO,
Right, that's a big deal.
it's a big deal. It signifies that this is a serious societal concern,
Yeah.
and it presents an opportunity for policy changes within education to really address this issue proactively.
So what could that look like?
Well, this could involve developing resources,
Yeah.
training programs to help people identify and manage burnout in educational settings.
Right, yeah. And what about for individuals? Like, what could they do?
So potential strategies could include interventions that are aimed at the student,
Mm-hmm.
such as stress management training,
Okay.
coping skills development.
Yeah.
But equally important
Yeah.
are changes at the organizational level.
Mm-hmm.
So reevaluating workload demands,
Right.
reducing testing pressure,
Right.
fostering a more supportive
Mm-hmm.
and less competitive learning environment.
So it's not just on the student.
It's not just on the student, yeah.
Okay.
Evidence from other fields suggests that a multifaceted approach
Yeah.
that addresses both the individual and the system
Right.
is probably going to be most effective.
Okay.
So more research is needed to actually evaluate
Mm-hmm.
the effectiveness of different intervention programs in educational settings.
Well, this has been really interesting.
It's a fascinating topic.
Yeah. To recap,
Yeah.
the meta-analysis shows that burnout is a huge impediment to academic success.
Yeah.
Whether you look at total burnout or exhaustion, cynicism, or reduced efficacy, all of those things negatively impact performance.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
really important for anyone involved in education,
Yeah.
including you listening, to recognize burnout as a real issue. That requires attention
Yeah.
and proactive strategies.
Man, on that note, here's something to think about.
Okay.
We talked about that strong link between reduced efficacy, that feeling of diminished academic competence,
Yeah.
and negative academic outcomes.
Yeah.
So what do you think are some effective ways to cultivate like a genuine sense of competence and accomplishment in students?
Yeah.
And how could that maybe buffer against the detrimental effects of burnout?
Something to think about.
It is something to think about.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Thanks for listening.